Florian podcast.
All right, today's Pick to Click brought to you by OddsShark.com. OddsShark is your source for the latest odds from leading authorities, expert editorial content, and detailed matchup picks with expert in-depth analysis. For each game, their free statistics, numbers, and trends will help you make the sharp picks on game day. Head over to OddsShark and start playing like a shark today. It is OddsShark.com. Do not forget that second S. And now joining us in his usual slot during a pay-per-view week, but from a different locale, it is the sports analyst from OddsShark.com, the great Joe Osborne, on social media at JTFOZ. Joe, sir, it's a pleasure to see you on camera. Beard is filling out nicely. How are you today?
Yeah, I've really embraced the beard look, guys. I put a little bit of product in the hair for you. And, you know what? Welcome to my my basement. I have the wife and the kids upstairs, but I've got a pretty good routine going Monday through Friday. I come down here and get a little bit of work done. It's nice to have some actual live sports with actual human beings competing against each other this weekend. It's going nuts this weekend. The lead story in sports, you can only hear so much about Andy Dalton and Mitch Trubisky, right? Oh. So it's getting a bit out of hand. So thankfully we have some actual sports to talk about here.
So I know you got a lot of balls in the air at all times. You mentioned you have the children, but like this Saturday, how much of these 7 hours of UFC programming will you actually be able to sit down and ingest, uninterrupted? Oh,
man. Well, the kids go to bed early. Thankfully, we got a good routine. It took a little while.
Yeah.
They get up early, though, is the thing, right? So I plan on watching the entire card. And, on top of all that, it's also Mother's Day on Sunday, of course. So I'm sure you guys and a bunch of other guys with kids out there can relate. There will be no sleeping in for us dads. So you just got to suck it up, right?
Except for this guy who will be sitting in a hotel by himself in Jacksonville, Florida, with basically nothing to do but sleep and get ready for Wednesday. But yes, no, of course, Mother's Day. I better get something going there. Thanks for the reminder, Joe. All right, so you have told me privately that you think this is a pretty good betting card top to bottom. So what can you tell us about UFC 249 and where your action might reside?
Yeah, lots of great spots here. So let's start with the main event, Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. Tony Ferguson minus 180, Gaethje coming back plus 150. And I love Tony Ferguson here. So the question then becomes, how do you want to bet it? So I think Ferguson is going to finish him. You could get him inside the distance at minus 125, but my official bet for this is going to be Ferguson to win by TKO or KO at plus 230.
Wow.
So why do I like that bet? Gaethje is a guy, he takes a ton of damage in there, doesn't he? You look at significant strikes absorbed per minute in their UFC careers. Gaethje, 9.67 by comparison. Tony Ferguson, 3.75. So Gaethje, it's kill or be killed. And that strategy versus a very elite fighter like Tony Ferguson, probably not the best strategy you can use. We've seen, Tony Ferguson, maybe not the most power, but you see what he does to dudes' faces in there? Absolutely slicing and dicing. And take a look at Gaethje when, 4-2 in the UFC, pretty good. The most exciting fighter, definitely in the discussion. But when the competition rises, Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez, he was TKO'd and KO'd by those guys. So, yeah, I love Ferguson in the main event, plus 230 to win by TKO or KO.
So the co-headliner features Dominic Cruz back in a competitive setting for the first time since 2016. He's about plus 195. I've seen some plus 200s out there against Henry Cejudo. Any value on Dominic for you or any bet on that co-main event?
Yeah, I think Cruz, he's a guy, it's more of a lean, but I do think he's worth the risk. It won't be a big bet, maybe a half a unit or something like that. But, the thing that's going to come up with most casual fans is ring rust, ring rust, ring rust. And John, I've had you on OddsShark programming plenty of times, and I've asked you, like leading up to the McGregor fights, hey, what about the ring rust factor? And the example you always give me is Dominic Cruz. He's a guy who doesn't really believe in it, and he's back talked up before. He was off from 3 years, 2011 to 2014, comes in his first fight back, wins KO a minute, 1 second in. So that's one side of it. Then you look at Henry Cejudo, he's climbing that pound-for-pound ladder, isn't he? He's really improving all areas of his game. But with each passing fight, he's also getting a little bit more arrogant. He's also falling in love with his striking a lot more. And that could get him into trouble versus a guy like Cruz, who probably has the most unorthodox footwork in maybe MMA history. You know, he's not just going to stand in front of him and trade. So I think Cruz, he's definitely worth a little sprinkle there, plus 200, plus 180, whatever your book is offering.
It's interesting because I'm not sure Vegas is taking into account, and again, far smarter men and women than me, but Cejudo is coming off a major surgery and a year layoff in his own right, as a lot of these athletes are because of COVID-19, right? So I don't know. I just felt like the fight would be closer on paper, at least according to the number, based upon some of those Cejudo variables that maybe people aren't taking into account. I don't know. So, Joe, before I ask you quickly about the NFL and how your day-to-day life has changed, anything else that piques your interest on UFC 249? I know Ken Flo kind of likes Nico Price in that plus 220 range. I think a lot of Ken Flo's sentiments today are that Fabricio Verdum might be the safest bet on the card from a betting perspective. Anything else jump off the card for you, Joe?
Yeah, this one really stood out to me. It is my favorite bet on the entire card. So I was very curious to see what the over-under rounds would be in the Ngannou-Rozenstruik fight. So it's set at 1.5 rounds, and the under on that is at minus 105. So I was shocked to see it at minus 105. So why do I like that so much? So just look at the pattern of each of these guys' careers. Ngannou, 7 of his last 9 fights finished in the first round. Rozenstruik, 7 of his 10 career fights finished in the first round. Now, a lot of people might come at you and say, well, what about the Derek Lewis fight for Ngannou? That's a gigantic outlier, guys. You know, both guys were kind of a bit trigger shy, maybe. And then when he fought for the title versus Stipe, right? You know, he was just outclassed there. So if you look at the pattern of each of these guys, they're going to be in there just throwing smoke, throwing leather. And from everything I've seen on social media, in the build up to this event, which has gone on forever now, I don't know if there's a hungrier guy to fight than Francis on Saturday night. So I absolutely love that bet, minus 105.
Under 7.5 minutes. I absolutely love that, man. You know, I'm allowed to say I love that, and I do believe that fight is not going to still be happening late in round 2. All right, so before we let you go, man, just curious how your day-to-day has been up north there and sort of adjusting on the fly. I mean, are you looking at NFL futures? I mean, when you don't have games to analyze on a daily basis, what's filling your plate?
Yeah, so I definitely miss the daily routine of, getting in the morning and handicapping a bunch of games, doing a show, a bunch of social media content. Then you watch the games play out. Hopefully you win a few of those bets. And then you do it all again the next day. It's like Groundhog Day, but it's an incredible version of Groundhog Day. So
now version of Groundhog Day.
Yeah, so now it's just kind of event based. You know, we had the NFL draft, so that was excellent. 2 weeks of build up, a ton of different content. It was the most watched NFL draft of all time, the most bet NFL draft of all time. So that went pretty good. And, you know, we got the UFC back. So this is fantastic. So it's all looking forward to this. So we have the event Saturday, then one the Wednesday after, another one after that. So I think they're going to be coming fast and furious, which is great. Hopefully we get some news. I think Major League Baseball is probably going to be the first of the major team sports back. But yeah, a lot of stuff is reacting to what is happening in the NFL. So they have odds for absolutely everything up. And one of the bets I love the most, and you guys, the Boston guys, you're probably going to like this. So this is a movie we've seen before with people counting out the New England Patriots, right? How many times has this happened during the season, before a season, after a season, when they lose? And it's happening again. They've won the AFC East 16 of the last 17 years. Now everyone's handing it to the Buffalo Bills, including odds makers who have the Bills as the favorite to win the division. You can get the Patriots at plus 145. And I think that's a great spot. You know, people are kind of ignoring the fact that the Bills played a bit of a cupcake schedule last season. They went just 1-4 versus other teams that made the playoffs. And the Patriots, it's going to be all about that defense. Still one of the best defenses in the league. And if you don't think Bill Belichick has a plan, you're absolutely nuts. So Jared Stidham, we don't know a whole lot about the guy. It looks like they're going to go with him. I'm willing to bet he's going to be, a pretty good quarterback. So Patriots plus 145 to win the division. They're going to play in a lot of boring games, dominated by their defense, where they're running the ball, a lot of checkdowns and stuff like that from Stidham. But That's a bet I'd make at even money. So plus 145 Patriots to win the AFC East. I love it.
I think there's a lot of value there. I mean, too close to my heart to bet personally, of course, Ken.
Of course.
But I like what you're thinking there. And the thing about Belichick, too, he's 68 years old. He's not going to tank. He's not going to give away a season. He's trying to win the goddamn Super Bowl. And if he's going to do that, he's certainly going to win the AFC East first. So,
especially after losing Brady, I think he's got a fire lit under his ass. Unlike anything else. He's like, nah, I'm the man. I'm the man.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, on Twitter, you can find him at JTFOZ, OddsShark.com for the daily content. It's good to see you, buddy. We'll see if they make you shave when you go back into the office. We're hoping not.
I've embraced it, man. The wife likes it, so hey, I'm good to go.
That's all that matters. All right, man. Well, we will talk to you in the not-too-distant future, likely before UFC 250, which could go down on June 6th. But appreciate the insight, as always, and we'll talk to you soon, kid.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Good luck, and good luck to all the listeners out there.
Thank you so much. Joe. There he is, Joe Osborne. Certainly one of the must-follows for me on social media at JTFOZ.